Those select all that apply questions, they will get you during classes on Zoom. I was out. It's just like a shock. They're like, whoa. What is this? Who am I? Like, what is going on? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi, my name is Bolu, and if you're a subscriber, thank you for coming back to my channel. Happy new year, guys. Obviously this is a new year, it's a new season, so it's giving new beginnings, it's giving new year resolutions, it's giving, I don't know, new year, new YouTube. That's what it's giving for me. Anyway, so in this video, guys, I'm gonna be talking about things that I wish I knew before I got into nursing school. So as you guys know, I'm a recent graduate from Kennesaw State University. I just graduated with my BSN, period, per. So right now, obviously, I'm just waiting to take the NCLEX, the board certification examination. So I was like, you know, I graduated nursing school, I went through nursing school. I was like, so what better way for me than to give my advice? What's the point if I'm not able to help someone out there who is potentially going through the same process? So I was like, I need to share my 1 or 2 cents about nursing school that I think are so important to know, because I didn't know them personally and I didn't figure it out until 2 semesters in nursing school. I feel like if you watch this video, it would be very, informative. I hope you guys enjoy it, and yeah, let's get into the video. Alright guys, so obviously I've written, I don't know where my British accent is coming from, but obviously I wrote a few things on my phone, so I'm just gonna be reading out from my phone. Like, there's no particular order, it was just like how I remembered it basically. The first thing that I wish I knew before I got into nursing school was the fact that YouTube is the resource for nursing school. Okay, so obviously in nursing school, you go through classes, it's a lot of information before you even get into nursing school. Like, you have to do anatomy and physiology, you have to do microbiology and stuff like that. And so nursing school is basically the application of all these things that you learned before you got into it, right? And so sometimes I feel like it might seem overwhelming, and you might get to class, you may not really get it at that point in time. I just think like, if I can't get it when the teacher is saying it, like, I'm not getting it again. But no, like, luckily for YouTube is a search engine. It's basically like Google. So there are so many resources on YouTube, like nurse labs, even Crash Course. Like, Crash Course does a lot of things related to nursing as well, but there are a lot of resources to use. Some of these YouTube videos, they really break down what they're teaching in class and even how to apply it to nursing questions. But that's one thing I didn't know before I got into nursing school. YouTube is a great resource for exams and just tests that you're taking. Another thing would be nurse labs for care plans. Y'all know when you get into nursing school, the first 2 semesters, you guys are doing like extensive care plans, like 18 pages care plans. You have to come up with 2 diagnoses. You have to come up with rationales for the diagnosis. You guys, let me tell you something. Nurse labs is the way to go for a certain condition, right? A certain nursing diagnosis, not a diagnosis like cancer or something. Let me give an actual example. Let's say somebody has like, appendicitis and they go for a surgery and they're in the hospital. Obviously, an appendectomy is not like a huge surgery, but obviously like from surgery there's going to be pain, there's going to be because I'm in surgery, I'm not going to be able to move as much as I as I would. That there's also a risk for bleeding as well. Nursing diagnosis, like, you just literally hit nursing diagnosis for, I don't know, an appendectomy or surgery. You see things like pain control, you see things like risk for fluid volume deficit, stuff like that. You see things like, you literally list out every single thing that can happen or that can be a risk from surgery. And so that's how I used to get my nursing diagnosis for the care plans that I do. So nurse labs definitely is a huge resource. I literally use this website every single semester. Like, I'm not even gonna front. So I definitely would recommend that to you guys. Another thing that I wish I knew before I got into nursing school was plan your time correctly. Oh, you guys, when I tell you, before I got into nursing school, even in nursing school, I didn't take this advice I'm about to give you guys. But you literally need to plan yourself. Like, before I got into nursing school, I used to study 1 day before the exam. I'll make my notes in 2 days before going to the exam, and I'll get like A's. So I was thinking I could literally just apply the same. But no, you can't do that. Nursing school is a different ball game on its own. Like, it's not the same at all. For me in nursing school, what I usually do is I go to class. Obviously, I'm a huge note taker. Like, I love taking notes, but with the way we have like 3 classes a day, my book bag used to be so huge, so I just stopped taking my notes. I was like, yeah, I'll just take my laptop and make notes on my laptop, and that's what I did. So I would go to class. They already have the PowerPoint on our school portal, so you can you have access to the PowerPoint before you actually get to class. So what I used to do would be, I would download the PowerPoint. I'll basically like drag the screen up so there's a lot of space for the notes, right? And so I would take my phone, this phone that's right here, I would take my phone phone and I will go to the voice memo app and record the lecture. So basically, as the teacher is talking, I'm recording on my phone, but also every PowerPoint that she goes through, I'll really make notes underneath it. And then when it's almost time for exam, like a week before, I will re-listen to the lecture, because I'm not really a fast typer, because obviously you guys know I did my school in Nigeria, so I was not really like used to using laptops and stuff for typing and taking notes. But what I would do is I will re-listen to the lectures that I recorded, and so the things that I think are important, I'll fully write the notes under each PowerPoint slide, and then at the end I will take the objectives from the course, and then I will answer each objective question based on the notes that I took and the PowerPoint that our teacher gave us. And so that's how I was able to, you know, make my notes. It just seemed more organized, like you know that for a fact that okay, this is coming out. And also it helps you to kind of understand the concept more, because sometimes you just look at a PowerPoint slide, like what if it's just a picture, but that picture is actually very important. So if you don't take notes in class, you're not going to know if that picture is useful or not. Sometimes they'd be like, oh, don't bother about that, so don't bother about it. But yeah, that's how I used to take my notes. And also I used to do this a week before we have to write the exam, and so like literally 2-3 days before the exam, I'm going to use it to study the material. So with nursing school, you have to make sure you plan yourself. You can't just wake up the day before the exam and say, oh yeah, it's time for me to study. You cannot do that. And also you need to plan your schedule. In nursing school, you don't go to school as much, but you do a lot, which is kind of crazy. So I used to have classes twice a week, but you would think, okay, twice a week, that's pretty chill. But no, you're going to clinicals 1 to 2 times a week. You have simulations, you have dosage calc, you have skill checkoffs that you have to come to school in the labs to practice for. And like you also have to make sure that you sign up when you're supposed to sign up. So you're supposed to plan all these things. Like basically their time slots, you have to make sure it fits your schedule. And sometimes in nursing school, you're working as well. So you think you're able to go to school 2 times a week, but realistically, you have clinicals that same week, you have simulation that same week, you have skill checkoff, so you have to come to school to practice. And they'd be like, oh, you have to do a minimum of 10 hours for you to even check off. So that means you have to come to school and create that time to practice your skills. So things like that. So in nursing school, like you really have to plan your week. Like my friends be like, oh, Bolu, you never have time. And like, yeah, I don't have time, because I literally have to plan myself, because if I don't plan myself, I'm gonna regret it. Time management and organization is key. I literally just said this. You literally have to plan your week and your even entire semester. So for planning and making a to-do list, I use Google Calendar and Google Keep. And so I basically go through the syllabus of each class I'm taking, the calendar, and I basically put the dates in my calendar. And I also put reminders, like if an assignment is due on Sunday, I make sure there's a reminder on Friday telling me that the assignment is due on Sunday. If you guys want an in-depth tutorial of how I get my calendar done and how I plan myself, definitely let me know and I'll definitely do the video for you guys. But yeah, that's how I do it. And also at the side, I use Keep as a to-do list. So I have like a tab for personal stuff, I have a tab for school stuff, I have a tab for YouTube, I have a tab for work, because I was working at some point in nursing school. And so that's how I'm able to, you know, really plan myself and really manage myself. Another thing I wish I knew before I got into nursing school was it is okay to not make A's on all your exams. I feel like every nursing student is a straight A student before they get into nursing school, and then the first B or the first C you get is just like a shock. You're like, whoa. What is this? Who am I? Like, what is going on? It's actually absolutely okay to not make all A's in nursing school. The only thing is to not make a D. In nursing school, it's literally A, B, C, D. Once you get 2 D's, you're kicked out of the program. That's for Kennesaw State. I'm not sure about how it applies to other, you know, programs. And obviously, that's a lot of pressure, but I feel like nursing students, we're definitely overachievers. We're A students, we're not B students at all. And so like my first semester in nursing, because I didn't know how to, you know, time manage, and also the content in nursing school is so different than when you're taking your prereq. It is so different. And so I didn't know how to fully navigate the content and how to really study for the examinations. I also used to like read a day before the exam or make my notes 2 days before the exam, and that was terrible. And also when I started nursing school, it was online. Online atmosphere was not really conducive for me, because I think I'm definitely like a visual learner. Like I have to go in class and I have to look at the board, like I have to write things down. But online, I used to sleep, you guys. During classes on Zoom, I was out. And so I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll just go and make the notes after class. A week before the exam, I'm trying to read all the recordings. And you guys, classes are like 2 hours 45 minutes long. Why am I trying to read a 3-hour recordings for like 6 classes? Like that is not gonna work. It's not gonna work. But that's what I did. And so it was definitely poor planning on my part, me just thinking I could do whatever. And so like I literally got all B's that semester. When I tell you that hurt me so much, it was crazy. But I realized that it is okay. Like you did your best. You not getting all A's, it just prepares you for the next exam. And so like the next semester I got 2 A's and 1 B. So like you guys see how there's a difference, there's an improvement. You not getting all A's is not the end of your life, honestly. You can use that mistake to learn and grow, right? And also our nursing program allowed us to be able to review the questions after each exam. And so you go to the reviews, you see where you kind of missed it, you see where you kind of misunderstood the question and stuff like that. So it's definitely okay to not get all A's. B's are okay sometimes, C's are okay sometimes. Like don't beat yourself up about it. Like at the end of the day, you're gonna walk out with that BSN. It doesn't matter what your GPA is. They're gonna hire you. You're gonna work at a good hospital. You're gonna get a job. And the fact that you even got into the nursing program, that means you are smart. So don't beat yourself up about it. Another thing, I think I kind of touched up about this. Nursing questions are so different, and so the studying technique is different. What I was saying before, you know, I talked about how, you know, when you're taking your periodics like anatomy and physiology, microbiology, it's more of, you know, definitions. It's more of, oh, this is this is that, this is this. But in nursing school, our questions are definitely application based. They paint a picture in your head. They create a scenario in your head. Okay, so let's say, you know, okay, this is what low blood sugar looks like, right? Okay, if you have low blood sugar, these are the symptoms, this is what's gonna happen to you. Our questions are, if a patient walks in and their blood sugar is this, is this, what would you expect to find? Obviously, it was so different coming in from like, you know, microbiology, where it's just like definite definitions, anatomy and physiology, where was a lot of memorization. All these things that we've learned, they basically come together, and we have to be able to apply that to a human situation, like what would happen in the hospital. And so it was very hard for me to learn that and learn how to actually answer these questions, because I was so used to learning a definition and the question is, what is this? Those select all that apply questions, they will get you. Select all that apply questions will get you, where it's like 10 options and you have to pick which one is right. And sometimes they don't even give you points for getting a question partially right. It's all or nothing. You have to get one or you don't. And so it was so hard for me to even like wrap my head around that, which is why it was so hard for me to even get an A the first semester. And I quickly adjusted and I quickly learned how to navigate those questions. But yeah, that's something I wish I knew. Another thing I wish I knew about nursing school before I started was grading is different. 90 to 100 is A, 89 to I think 80 is B. It's still that kind of grading. But one thing about nursing school is they don't have any opportunities for extra credit. I think C is from 75, right? So if you get 74.85, that is a D. There is no rounding up. And I didn't know that. And so it was so crazy for me, like figuring that out. And so that means like literally every exam, you have to make sure you're putting your best, because you're not going to round it. There's also no opportunity for extra credit. And it's kind of nerve-wracking taking prerequisites. We already know that teachers usually, you know, give opportunity for extra credit, opportunities to grow. So if you don't get a good grade on the first one, you can always make it up using like an extra credit. But in nursing school, what you get is what you get. That was very annoying to come to terms with, but that just made me sit up more and, you know, be serious more about it. Another thing is clinicals. Okay, if you're planning on going into nursing school, you probably don't know what clinicals are, but clinicals are basically like practical, but you're going to the hospital. With the way Kennesaw State did it, okay, so let's say you're taking mother baby this semester. So basically you're taking a parent and child. That's what you're taking this semester, right? So you go to a hospital that has a mother baby unit. So basically whatever you're learning here, you're also learning it in the hospital. You're seeing presentations in the hospital. I had an opportunity to go to a postpartum, so basically the mother baby floor. I had time to go to the NICU, the neonatal ICU. I had time to go to the labor and delivery floor, both the natural birth area and the surgery. So basically people that have C-sections and stuff. So like that's what clinicals are. They basically the real life representation of what you're learning in school. But yeah, tips on clinicals: come on time. Say if your clinical instructor says get there at 6:45, get there at 6:45, because in her mind at 6:45 we're all leaving the floor wherever we're meeting and we're going to the floor, and then they're able to assign the nurses that you're going to be shadowing for the shift. And so basically if they say come on this time, go on that time. Also, as a nursing student, you're going to be given the opportunity to give medication, to assess the patient. I think every semester you have to do one assessment where your preceptor is watching over you or is seeing what you're doing basically. But one thing I would say about clinicals is don't do whatever you're not comfortable with, because there's going to be a time where they're going to be like, oh, do you want to insert a Foley? If you're not comfortable about it, do not do it, because if you do something you're not comfortable about and God forbid there's a mistake, obviously it's going to fall on the nurse who you're working with, and that's just going to be a whole problem. You yourself, if you're not comfortable with something, do not do it at all. I would advise you guys to not do it at all. If your clinical instructor is like forcing you, like you could always meet your preceptor and be like, oh, this person says this, I'm not really comfortable with it, is it okay if I back out? And yes, like do not do things that you're not comfortable with at all. You also have to be vigilant as well. Like sometimes some nurses use the shortcut to get things done and not how they're supposed to be done, and so like you're learning those stuff as well. So it's like you also need to be vigilant and know, okay, what is right, and so you don't learn that thing that you're not supposed to learn. Another thing I wish I knew in nursing school is it is important to be on time for everything. I'm talking about simulations. There's sometimes you're gonna, instead of going to clinicals, you're gonna have simulations where they bring a real patient who is acting sick, and you as a nurse, you have to come in, do an assessment. The situation gets worse, you have to be able to kind of troubleshoot and get the patient back to baseline, as well as, you know, exams and just clinicals. Like, you do not want to be late. If they said it starts at 7, best believe it's gonna start at 7. Yo, I have a whole story. Okay, so my final simulation started at 8 a.m. in the morning, right? In the syllabus, they'd be like, oh, come 30 minutes before simulation time. So me, I'm just like, oh, maybe they say come 30 minutes so people can have grace, and so you just be there at 8 and then we start. No, literally they meant come 30 minutes so you can take, they literally put all the patient data outside the room, and their laptops there with, you know, the patient chart. So you're supposed to come 30 minutes early so you can pair up with people you want to pair up with, first of all, and also so you can look at the patient data. And so when you walk in, it's just going to be like a quick report, and then you just start. I came literally 5 minutes to the time, and so I did not have time at all to get any data. And unfortunately for me, I ended up being the primary nurse. So the role was like, oh, there's going to be a primary nurse, and there's going to be like a student nurse, somebody acting like a student nurse basically. And so you're supposed to be precepting that student nurse, right? And so I was going to be the primary nurse, and I literally had no information on all the patients. And so I was scrambling because I was like, oh shoot, like I'm late, I didn't get my data. My mind was not really, you know, clear because I was already late, and so I wasn't even able to prioritize properly. I wasn't able to troubleshoot. But luckily for me, I was able to leave the simulation with, you know, newfound information. I was able to learn from that experience. So definitely, like, when they say be on time, y'all know I'm Nigerian, so Africans are always late to everything, but not in nursing school. You cannot be late. You cannot be late in nursing school. I had to switch up my African mentality, like quick quick. But yeah, so definitely do not be late. Another thing that I learned was your mental health is priority. I think I kind of touched on this in my chit chat video when I literally just came back like a month ago. I talked about this in that video about, like, you know, how stressful nursing school can be, and nursing school can indeed be very stressful. Your mental health is a huge priority. If you need time to just be by yourself and not even do anything school related, and not do anything that is going to be very, you know, mentally, like, you know, stressful on you, you need to take that time. Even if it's just, you know, taking a shower or reading a book or going to the spa. Like, your mental health is such huge priority. Sleeping in nursing school is very, very time consuming. Like, you might not even have time to, you know, see your friends sometimes. You might not have time to de-stress, and also it can also be very mentally challenging because you go to the hospital, like, you see patients, you start to realize, you know, like, how much, like, people can actually impact you. And sometimes we must have some terrible experiences in clinicals, and you might actually start to grow a weird attachment to those things that you do see, and obviously it can create stress on your brain. So your mental health is definitely very important. Just even with prioritization, with passing classes, with doing all this and try to have a normal life, try to have like a school work-life balance, it can be very hard to do when you're in nursing school. And so I will make sure that you are looking for outlet of, you know, stress relief, even if it's just, you know, watching shows, doing a skincare routine, like pampering yourself, like self-pampering. I'm a very strong advocate for self-care. Like, I don't like stressing myself at all. Like, if you know me, you know I like enjoyment. I will watch a show, I don't care, I'll binge watch the show. Sometimes I have things due, but I'm just like, I can't do this right now, because I know that if I do it at that time, I'm not gonna give it my best because I'm so stressed and I'm thinking about other things and I'm just stressed out. So I always take time, even if it's when you're eating, because I feel like in nursing school you have a lot of things to do. Even when you take time for yourself, you start to feel guilty for taking time for yourself. But I will tell you, take that time for yourself, because if you're able to take time for yourself and you're able to just relax and recuperate, and whatever you have going on, you're gonna give it your all because you're relaxed, your brain is ready to think, you're able to process things properly, right? And so your mental health is so important. So make sure, like, you're doing self-care, you're just keeping your mental health at check. Basically make time for self-care. Like, if it's just, you know, pampering yourself, going to a hotel, a bath, a shower, getting your hair done. Unfortunately, you can't get your nails done in nursing school, but those things, doing your makeup, y'all see these beats, it can be a form of therapy for you, a form of relaxation. And so definitely I wish I knew that before I got into nursing school. Another thing I wish I knew before I got into nursing school was, you are going to be clueless. You are going to go to clinicals and somebody is talking about which oxygen masks to use, and you're over here like, what are you talking about? They're talking about a venturi mask, a non-rebreather mask, that mask, and you're just like, huh? Like, what is going on? I literally tell you that every single semester that I went to clinicals, every single time I went to clinicals, it was like I've never been to the hospital in my life. I remember the first time I took vital signs on someone. Every single time I went to the clinicals, I had to relearn how to take vital signs. You're gonna be clueless in nursing school, and that's fine because everything in nursing school takes time and practice. Like sometimes you can know things in theory, but if you don't see it in person, you don't actually know how it's done, and that's fine. Like easily ask for people to help you. And one thing about nursing school, people are gonna help you because everybody knows that everybody there is clueless, and so whatever way they have to help someone, they are gonna help you. It's okay to be clueless. Like everything takes time and practice. Like I remember going to my last clinicals ever, I was like, oh, like that means right now, like I have to be able to walk into the room, be able to do a full body assessment, not choke or anything, go in there confidently. Person tells me, oh, this medication, I'm gonna give this medication and walk out. The first day of my final clinicals, I didn't even want to go and introduce myself because I was so scared of how like maybe like I would mess up, or I just had so many things I was overthinking. But luckily my nurse who was with me, she is so kind. Like Nicole, if you're watching this video, like she is the sweetest person ever. She's like, Bolu, like if you're not comfortable with anything, just let me know. Like I will guide you on how to do it. And so by the end of my clinicals, like I was giving medication, I was drawing labs, I was doing full body assessment, I was doing rounds with the doctor, I was giving report and stuff, like shift change report, and I learned so much. So everything takes time and practice, and that is okay. Like if you don't know anything at first, that is perfectly fine. Another thing I wish I knew was your physical health is definitely very important. Going to clinicals, luckily for us, we usually don't do like a 12-hour straight clinical, but when I did my final clinicals, you're working in the hospital but you're not getting paid. That's what your senior practicum is, and so you literally go for 12 hours. So you need to be very comfortable when you're doing that. You need to get comfortable shoes. Like shoes, like I have the Hokas, but I think mine is actually not one of the best around. I probably need to get some, but literally you need to get comfortable shoes. You need to get compression socks because there are things such as varicose veins. You need to ask for help when lifting up patients. Don't think that, oh, this patient is kind of tiny, I can probably lift her up. No, call someone. If it takes 2 people to do it, get 2 people to do it. Like don't think you can have to do everything by yourself. And so that's one thing I wish I knew, because now my back is hurting and I ain't even started. It's giving I need to go to a chiropractor like every week. That's what it's giving. So that's definitely one thing. Get comfortable shoes. Obviously I know in nursing school you're very limited on the color, because in our nursing school we could only wear black shoes, but get comfortable black shoes, right? Because after the 12-hour shift your feet is hurting. Get compression socks because some people have varicose veins and it's not pretty after a 12-hour shift. Comfortable scrubs, not those itchy ones. If you have to bend down and lift something, make sure you lift it at your core, not using your waist or whatever. So yeah, definitely your physical health is very, very important because you're going to be doing a lot of things, and you need to be able to do all these things after you graduate nursing school and actually start working as a nurse. Another thing I wish I knew was a social life is possible. You know, you hear a lot of things like, oh, nursing school, you're not going to have time for friends, which is true. Like it can be very time consuming, but with time and organization, a social life is possible. With prioritization and time maximization, a social life is possible. Like even with nursing school, I still, you know, when I'm with my friends, I made time with my friend, but that was because I was able to prioritize what I had to do for a certain day. So I know the next day I'm free and I don't have to do anything. So you definitely have to do that in nursing school, time prioritization, and with that a social life is possible. And the last thing but not the least that I wish I knew before I got into nursing school was make friends. I'm gonna say this again, make friends. You guys, when I tell you that me having friends in nursing school literally made the entire journey 10 times less stressful, because when you have friends in nursing school, you're able to complain to those friends because they understand what you're going through. They understand how hard it is, and you guys are able to lift yourself up. Even during time for exams, you guys get to study together. You learn new studying tips. You go through things together. Like you go through clinicals together, you go through practicum together. Like having friends in nursing school makes the journey so much more easier. I literally didn't even have any close friends until my 4th semester in nursing school. That was summer. 4th semester in nursing school. I didn't have any friends until then because I'm a very friendly person. Like don't get me wrong, I'm a very friendly person, but I'm also very quiet in public. I like to keep to myself and not talk to people. But my last 2 semesters in nursing school, I was like, yeah, well, like you have to have these friends. And also like a lot of things happen in nursing school. Like you can miss announcements, you can miss important updates, but if you have friends, they're gonna remind you of that, and you're not just gonna be left in the dark. I didn't know that because a lot of things happen in nursing school. Like a lot of information is coming at a fast track, and you have to make sure that you're meeting the deadlines, you're doing this. But sometimes you can miss something, and if you have a friend to you know, help you and to remind you of all these things. That is the best thing ever. That is literally the best thing ever. I'm so lucky for the friends that I even met in nursing school. Like coming in February, I'm going to be working with 2 of those friends in the hospital that I got a job at, which is great because it's like, okay, these people, you did 2 years with them, so you're still going to continue seeing them, and it's so great. Like, it's just a breath of fresh air because you guys remember where you're coming from and you're just able to, you know, evolve and grow together, which is very, very, very like rewarding, I think. But yeah, definitely make friends in nursing school because those friends like probably gonna be your bridesmaids. Who knows? You're gonna be your bridesmaids, you're gonna be your children's godparents or whatever. Like, you never know. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for staying to the end if you did stay to the end. And yeah, I feel like there are more things in nursing school that I probably did not mention, but if you guys have some questions about nursing school and you know how it was for me, just let me know and I'll definitely be happy to talk to you guys about it. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video was very informative and also entertaining to watch. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Also turn on the post notification bell so you guys are notified every single time I upload a video. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next video.